This is my Astor Mickey radio from 1952 that I repaired a while ago. There's a video on that. It worked for, I don't know, maybe 20-30 hours, but then it started to go a bit in the sound department and then stopped entirely. So obviously there's something wrong and I have to repair it. I'd also like to do the alignment, which I didn't do when I first repaired it, and I have a suspicion of what may have caused the failure, and I have an idea on how to mitigate that if that is what it turns out to be. It could be just a burnt out valve, or who knows, maybe the little bit of fine wire in the tuning coil that I fixed last time has come unstuck. But okay, so I'll take the knobs off, undo these 3 screws and then 2 underneath so I can get the chassis out. So I'll do that now. There it is out of the case. When I did the repair last time, I put these inline connectors for the power cord and the speaker, which, okay, a purist wouldn't like them, but they can easily be removed if this ever fell into the hands of a purist, so there's no permanent harm done, and it makes it a lot easier to deal with this thing as a separate unit. The aerial's a bit ratty, the insulation's perished, so maybe that should be replaced, but in terms of not having it get in the road like the power cord, it can just be put into a hank, as it's called, I've discovered from the service manual. So I also made a wooden arrangement so I could easily turn it upside down and not damage anything, so I'll put that on as well now. So there's the mounting bracket, just a couple of blocks of wood with screws tightened over the end plates and a couple of small screws there to stop them sliding out. So I can turn it upside down quite happily and every which way except face down because of these. So let's I'll power it through my isolation transformer and turn it on and just have a general sticky beak. So I've decided rather than just the isolation transformer, I'll go with the whole power management suite that I recently did a video on. Variac going into the isolation transformer, going into current limiter, going into the radio. And one thing I've noticed is the dial indicator light. I thought maybe it was just a loose connection, but it looks well and truly burned out. Come on, you little bugger, get out. A lot of metallisation on the interior, so it looks like it's just been burnt out. Bit of a problem getting that out. I'll get it out eventually, and I think I've got a replacement sitting around somewhere. But that just confirms my suspicion of why this thing failed overall. The bulb itself, the bulb went out long before the radio stopped radioing, but the obvious signs of overvoltage are what I suspect may be the cause of the subsequent failure of the radio itself. Why won't that mongrel come out? I'll show you what that is. And here's what I think the problem may be. This is looking on the incoming mains without Variac's transformers or anything else, and you can see that it's 250 volts, and it's always around 250 volts around here because I'm less than 100 meters from the neighbourhood distribution transformer, so the voltages here are a little bit high. And the radio is rated 200, I think, to 250 volts, which is quite a range, but 250 volts is at the extreme end, and I'm just suspicious that, now there's no regulation that 250 volts goes straight into this transformer, and this, say, the 6.3 volts that lights up the globe and the filaments, well, that's probably 6.3 volts at a nominal 230 volts input, but at 250 it's probably a bit high and things just don't last as long. So I want to try and mitigate that. but let's just see if it is a burnt out valve that's causing the failure. Check the bulb. Dead. So not surprisingly, given the metallisation in there. Okay, 6B6, the RF amplifier and oscillator, pins 3 and 4. That's the 6AD8 I grabbed, so they're pins 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Seems okay. That was the RF amplifier and detector, IF amplifier and detector. 6B6, the RF amplifier and local oscillator. 1, 2, 3. Yep. But yep, that. 6AQ5, or is this 6X4? This is the 6X4, the rectifier. Pins 3 and 4 on him. 1, 2, 3. Good. And the 6AQ5 audio amplifier. Pins 3 and 4 on him. 1, 2, 3. Alright. So, that's not it. It's not filaments. I'll put them back and let's try putting some power in and see what happens. So 230 volts. Turn it on here, idiot. Okay, we can see that filament's lit. He's lit. Let's see here, and see a light of it for this. Him, nothing coming out. Not even some scratching in the output. It does make me wonder about this 6AQ5 amplifier tube. But yeah, we should probably try and inject some signal into the audio section, see if anything comes out that speaker. And for that I need my function generator, which is missing a display, it burnt out. And I'm waiting for the seller to send me a replacement. So I have to put this on hold for a little bit. Just while I've got all this set up, let's just have a look at the voltage on that lamp socket. Now that's with 230 volts up there, and on the filaments 6.303, so that's the correct nominal voltage coming in and the correct nominal voltage on the filaments. Now if I take that up to 250 and read that bulb voltage, 6.89. So it's a bit high, isn't it? And maybe it's, I thought maybe it's burned out one of these filaments, but it doesn't look like it, just this bulb. And just checking the speaker, we've got 4 ohms. So the lack of sound is not due to lack of speaker. And another quick thing to check is the original fault that I repaired first time round was this coil here had a break inside of it. You can see the wax I put on over my repairs, which I think was down this end. Just make sure there's no got continuity there, and they're both good. Output transformer is good on the output. 460 ohms on the input, so that's probably okay too. I'm not sure what it should be, but 460 seems not ridiculous. I suppose the next thing to check is see if we've got a high voltage rail, so if the rectifier is working. This resistor here is this guy, number 37. So on one side of it we should have 195 volts, and on the other side 175, which are across these two capacitors as well, which is, there's one of the capacitors, there's the other one up there that's been replaced. So put it on voltage, turn it on with 230 volts coming in, 258, that seems a little high, don't you think? 260 volts on one end and 3.4 on the other. That's weird. 260 at that end and 3 at that end. I'm just trying it again with this meter. Make sure we're getting similar results. Just turned it on, so waiting for the rectifier to warm up. There it goes. 260 volts coming out of the rectifier. Then the other side of this resistor, 3 volts. Well, is that because this guy's boined up, or because this end is loaded down? But if it was loaded down, you'd expect this to be loaded down as well if the resistor wasn't burned out. So, okay, volts off. Volts are dropping, but not very quickly. Now that should be this resistor here, 450 ohms. Just looking under there, I don't see anything obviously burnt out. The suspicion is on this resistor, but a bit hard to tell the colour of it. Looks pretty burned out just normally, I think, but everything else looks okay. None of my new resistors look cooked. Come on, come on. I'm going to ground it out. No, there's no volts. Okay, measuring the resistance on him. Should be 450 ohms, and it's open circuit. Alright, so it looks like the resistor's gone. Right, I've replaced that 450 ohm 1 watt resistor with a 1k and an 820k in parallel, which that runs them at about 400 and something milliwatts each, so a bit under half of their rating. I'm not 100% comfortable with that. I'd like to derate even more, so I think I might end up replacing that with 4 1.8k's in parallel. And also I soldered onto the snipped off leads of the old resistor, and they were very tarnished and very hard to get good contact, so it's a pretty rough job. So when I replace it with 4 resistors, I'll do it properly. I'll take off the old lead out of the tube socket and cut open this heat shrink and redo it all properly. But just for a test, that'll do for the moment. So I'll turn it on and see if we get any improvement. Okay, I've also replaced the bulb with another 6.3 volt bulb and tightened up the clamps to reduce flappage, so let's turn it on. Turn it on there, right. The light works. So it looks like it was just that resistor. So let's have a look at the voltages across that resistor now. Should be 195 and 175. 195 at this end. A bit low, isn't it? 162 and 140. Now that's with 230 volts going in. Yeah, so it's still a bit low. That's full volume. It's not very good. So why is our voltage set down so much? That should be 175, and we've got 140. This should be 195, and we've got 160. That's with 230 volts going in. If I put it up to the normal 250, a bit louder.
Campaigning for human rights for people with disabilities. Join us
150 volts.
at 6 p.m. on 3CR.
175, so it's still about 20 volts down. So what does that mean? Maybe the rectifier is getting a bit sad. I shall investigate a little bit more. So I've been through this bunch of valves. I've got another box of them somewhere, can't find it. And most of the, where there's been a sticker on it, I know what it is, but most of them, the old writing's rubbed off, so I don't know what they are. So for the moment at least, I don't have any replacement valves to try in there. So when I do find a 6x4 or any of the others, I'll try substituting it. So the thing does work. Now this thing's never been aligned probably since it was made, and a whole lot of parts have been replaced. When I did the first repair, there's a lot of new parts there, so it could certainly do with an alignment, and alignment is all about increasing the output level. So I wouldn't be surprised if that would make a big improvement to the volume, because that's flat out now. But I still haven't got the replacement display for my function generator, so I can't do that yet, so I think I'll have to do that in another video. The one thing I wanted to do with this one is, and also this is only drawing about 30 watts, and it should be more like 40 according to the service manual. It should be about 40 watts and it's only drawing about 30, so yeah, there's something a bit wrong with the supply rails in there, and I suspect the 6x4 rectifier is not working as well as it could. But something else I want to do, although probably I don't need to, in the mains power cord, just in line, insert 2 pairs of 10 volt Zener diodes back to back to reduce the incoming voltage by 20 volts from the 250 coming in to about 230, and that would introduce a slight distortion in the waveform, but it'd be minimal. And as well as having the 2 back-to-back Zeners, you also need a normal diode to stop them conducting in the forward direction. Otherwise you only get a 0.6, 1.2 volt drop. So those 2 diodes allow the Zeners to only work in the reverse direction, which will give the 20 volt drop. I've got the diodes, so I could put that in. I really don't need to, I guess, because the internal supply is so low, but it is putting 6.8 volts on the heaters instead of 6.3, so that might be reducing the valve life. So maybe I should do it, but I'll put that aside for the moment. It seems that I've got something that vaguely works, so I can listen to these idiots. So that might be it for now. I might come back and do another video when I get the frequency meter sorted and do the alignment of the thing. So I'll put this back together for the moment and just use it and see how it goes. I've still got to do a replacement of the resistors that I put in there too, but I'll do all that next time I open this thing up.
And holding the states to account.
So there it is. Astor Mickey rides again.
Newsworthy chat as well, but Jack.
Reasons to boycott globalni poredak, koji rizike sa sobom.
It was great. He'll do this type of guy.
So yeah, hope you found that mildly interesting. Stay tuned. I'll sooner or later get around to doing the alignment and probably do that trick I was talking about with the Zener diodes in line with the power cord to reduce the voltage going into here to 230. Now I did do a little test of that idea, and I've got 2 10 volt 5 watt Zeners and a 1N4007 in series back to back. We are getting, I'm measuring the voltage across it, and we're getting 22.5 volts drop. radio's just coming on.
She's not a singing dog.
And that's 248 coming in, make it 250,
Metaphorically.
250 volts going in, 22.7 dropped across there, so just under 230 getting to the radio. But when I tried this yesterday, after a while, it dropped down to only about 4 volts, so there's some effect I'm not aware of going on. Maybe the Zenas just don't like having that sort of voltage around them, even though they should only have 20 volts across them, or 10 volts across them. They're in a 250 volt environment. Maybe that's somehow getting in there and affecting things I don't fully understand. But just today, I thought they'd failed, but no, they're back to working again today. So I'll just leave it on for a while and see if they fade again. If they don't fade, well then I probably will put it in line and chalk what I saw yesterday up to didn't happen. Alright, so that's for next time. Now I'm measuring across the other side of the diode chain what's going into the radio. So there's 250 volts coming into the diodes and 233 on the outside, and let's see if that climbs up to the 245 that I saw the other day. Yeah, it looks like it might be a true RMS issue. This meter started off showing about 233 volts after the diodes with a 250 volt input, but if I go to this meter, which does claim to be true RMS, we get the 232. So it's as if this meter goes a bit wonky after a while. So now it's up to 250 volts. It started off at 230 like this, but not anymore. Something's warming up inside of it, which makes it not read true RMS properly. So it looks like this diode arrangement might be the go for compensating for the high mains voltage in this area. So when I do open this up again, when I've got my replacement display module for my function generator, I'll be putting that in the line cord. I'll be replacing the aerial and doing an IF alignment. Hope you enjoyed that, and if you want to see the follow-up to this whenever it appears, please subscribe and give it a like. Catch you later.